2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday the 21st of July, and it's National Hammock Day. And a big happy birthday to Selena Gomez, Willem Dafoe, Rhys Ifans and Prince George.
We don't normally have a Prime Minister who is forced out because his colleagues think he's dishonest.
That's former Justice Secretary David Gauke summing up what everyone's been thinking after Boris Johnson took his final bow at Wednesday's PMQs. And although there might not be many mourning the fallen Prime Minister, the race to replace him is already in full swing. The final 2 candidates in the Tory leadership contest launched their campaigns on Thursday. They'll spend the rest of the summer taking part in debates and hustings to try and win over the support of party members. Ex-Chancellor Rishi Sunak says his ability to beat Labour makes him the man for the job.
We need to win the next election, right? And now we've got to focus our minds, enough talking amongst ourselves. We've got to beat Starmer, we've got to beat Labour, we've got to do something we've never done before, and that's win a 5th general election.
But it's Foreign Secretary Liz Truss who's taken the lead in the polls. The Oxbridge graduate's been marking herself as a woman of the people and says the cost of living crisis is top of her agenda.
I'm somebody who can get things done, get the economy growing, put us on a positive footing, but I can also relate to people right across the country.
The inquiry into the UK's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic got underway on Thursday in an effort to pinpoint the mistakes that were made and inform future preparations. Over the next few months, scientific experts will submit evidence and those most affected by the pandemic will give testimonies at public hearings. Baroness Hallett is chairing the inquiry and says she'll be taking the role very seriously.
For my part, I will do my very best to undertake the inquiry in a way that acknowledges this suffering and seeks to reduce the scope for others to suffer in the same way in the future.
The inquiry comes as NHS staff are offered a 4.5% pay rise, but with inflation at a 40-year high, unions say it is in fact a real terms pay cut. Junior doctor Emma Runswick is disappointed by the situation.
We're not impressed. We're pretty angry. It's a bitter blow, especially after the pandemic. And now we're thinking about what kinds of actions we can take across the different groups of doctors. And that might well include industrial action.
As the EU plays a 7th round of sanctions on Russia, questions are being raised about Russia's military capabilities. Following the loss of at least 15,000 troops, former head of Joint Forces Command General Sir Richard Barrons says the Russian military is now struggling to recruit soldiers.
They are really scratching around for people. There's now pulling in new battalions of volunteers who would have had no more than 30 days military training.
The Ukrainian military have focused their new long-range weaponry on Russian ammunition and supply chains highly effectively. And Ukrainian MP Andrei Ozachuk says Russia doesn't seem to be able to stay focused.
It's probably 10 or 15 times during 5 months when Russia is changing objectives of a so-called military operation, but in fact the war in Ukraine.
Thursday was a busy day in the United States. First, President Joe Biden tested positive for COVID-19, with only minor symptoms so far. Then Donald Trump's former right-hand man, Steve Bannon, was found guilty of contempt of Congress for his refusal to testify to the January the 6th committee. That could see him spending time in jail. The committee themselves held a primetime hearing which focused entirely on the activities of President Trump on January the 6th. Former White House counsel Pat Cipollone testified that he, Ivanka Trump, Eric Hirschman and Mark Meadows all pushed the Donald to tell insurrectionists to leave the Capitol, but he refused. Former Trump deputy NSA Matthew Pottinger explained that he resigned after Trump's tweet attacking Vice President Mike Pence during the riots.
The tweet looked to me like the opposite of what we really needed at that moment, which was a de-escalation, and that's why I had said earlier that it looked like fuel being poured on the fire.
The hearing also played audio of the Vice President's Secret Service detail as they were trying to get Pence out of the Capitol during the riot.
If we lose any more time, we may lose the ability to leave. So if we're going to leave, we need to do it now.
And the hearings also heard from Trump himself in outtakes from a speech he made the day after.
But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
Still to come on the Smart 7, Lewis Hamilton heads towards a milestone and John Boyega is on a mission. Right after this.
Welcome back.
Lewis Hamilton set to hit a major milestone on Sunday as he prepares to take part in his 300th Formula One Grand Prix in France. The Mercedes drivers racked up almost 200 podium finishes and a record equalling 7 championship titles since making his F1 debut in Melbourne back in 2007. Ahead of Sunday's race, he was asked what advice he'd give to his 22-year-old self now, and his response was sweet, to say the least.
Naturally, when you're a little bit younger, you feel like you're going to live forever and you've got all the time in the world. And I would just say time is precious, so just maximise every moment you get with family, with friends, create memories. That's the most important thing. Don't stress too much.
If you couldn't get enough of Get Out and Us, then you probably won't want to miss Jordan Peele's latest thriller, Nope. It follows a pair of siblings living on a remote Californian ranch as they attempt to get to the bottom of a mysterious UFO problem. It's already hit cinemas in the US with a UK release slated for next month. Daniel Kaluuya popped up on The Tonight Show to explain the inspiration behind the movie's name.
I met Julian, who was speaking to me about the film, and then for whatever reason, we was developing, and I was like, what's it called? I just never asked him what it was called. He's like, Nope. And I laughed for 30 seconds. I was like, that's so funny, because he said that's the reaction that black people will have when they watch it. They're like,
It's been a good week for movie buffs out there as the trailer for the latest John Boyega film Breaking also dropped this week. Directed by Amy Damaris Corbin, it tells the true life story of a US Navy veteran who holds a bank hostage to call attention to the government's poor treatment of former Marines. Boyega takes on the leading role and the trailer looks epic.
Got the FBI, the GBI, everybody here.
I'm sorry. Okay. This is Sergeant Bernard. Is everyone all right in there? As long as everybody stays calm, nobody gets hurt. I have a bomb, and I'm gonna kill myself and everybody in here. My demands, and I live.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft